You think you know someone, but sometimes the person you trust the most can hurt you in ways you never imagined. This is the story of how my best friend ruined my life and how I was partially responsible. We met in middle school. From the start, we were inseparable. Homework, secrets, sleepovers, everything was shared. Everyone thought we were the perfect pair. They had this way of making people feel important. And for a long time, I was completely under their spell. They smiled at everyone, charmed teachers, and made you feel like you mattered. I never noticed the small things at first. The little manipulations, the exaggerations, the way they always seemed to be the center of attention. I thought I knew who they were, but I was wrong. It started small. One day, they asked me to cover for them, a tiny, harmless lie. I hesitated, but they swore it would be fine. I did it. I wanted to trust them. I wanted to believe the friendship was real. That one lie set off a chain reaction I couldn't have imagined. Soon the lies snowballed. School assignments, group projects, even things outside of school. They began pulling me into situations where I had to protect them. Every time they asked me to cover for them, I said yes again and again. I told myself it was no big deal, just a way to help a friend. But it was never just a little thing. Every day I wondered how far it could go. I started noticing the little patterns, the way they never apologized, how they manipulated situations to make themselves look innocent, how they always made someone else the scapegoat. And I stayed quiet, afraid of losing the friendship, afraid of being alone, afraid of what would happen if I said no. I tried to justify it to myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe they were just stressed. Maybe this was just how life worked. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. I began keeping notes, screenshots, texts, messages, proof I needed it, because I couldn't fully trust my own memory anymore. Then it happened. One huge decision they made, and suddenly it was my name on the line. Everything I had worked for, my reputation, my opportunities, my trust was at risk. I felt trapped like a character in someone else's story, watching events unfold without any control. I had to make a choice. Cover for them again, keep lying, keep pretending everything was fine, or finally tell the truth. I thought about all the times I had said yes when I shouldn't have. All the ways I had let fear and loyalty override my own judgment. And I decided I couldn't protect them any longer. I showed the proof to the people who needed to know. I told the truth, explained everything, and finally stopped being part of their lies. The first few days were terrifying. Arguments, tension, anger. It felt like the world was against me. But slowly things began to change. People started to see the full story. I regained control over my life. My best friend faced the consequences of their actions. And I learned something important. Trust is powerful, but so is standing up for yourself. I realized I couldn't let fear of losing someone else control my life. I had to rebuild, to take back the parts of myself I had given away in the name of friendship. I took the time to reflect on what had happened, to understand why I had allowed it. I realized I had been afraid of confrontation, afraid of being alone, afraid that losing this person would leave a void I couldn't fill. But I also realized that the void they left wasn't empty. It was an opportunity to grow, to surround myself with people who truly cared, to rebuild my trust carefully. Slowly, I began to repair the damage done to my life. I rebuilt my reputation, reestablished my boundaries, and surrounded myself with people who truly supported me. I became more confident, more aware, and more resilient. Every day, I reminded myself that the choices I make define me, not the actions of others. I thought about the lessons I had learned, that loyalty is not blind obedience, that standing up for yourself is never selfish, that recognizing red flags early can save you from months or years of pain. I learned that even when someone you love hurts you deeply, survival, healing, and growth are still possible. In the end, I came out stronger. I faced betrayal head-on, took responsibility for my own actions, and learned to let go of the things I couldn't control. My best friend was no longer part of my life, but the experience shaped me into someone wiser, more resilient, and more capable of recognizing true friendship when it comes. I learned that sometimes, the people we trust the most aren't meant to stay in our lives forever, and that's okay. Life doesn't always go the way we expect, but it's up to us to take the lessons, grow stronger, and move forward. I'm proud of the person I became because of it. Now, when I look back, I see the friendship not as a source of pain, but as the turning point that taught me the value of trust, the importance of boundaries, and the power of standing up for yourself. Betrayal doesn't have to break you. It can make you stronger.